we're both stubborn, but you're the more stubborn person than I am, and you're way more disagreeable than I am. But you apologize easier than I do.
I talk a lot. I like to talk. Even if I decide to keep malice, I will forget.
I don't know how to keep malice.
I'll forget that I'm keeping malice and come and talk to you. That's just how I am. 1, 2, 3. Action. All right. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show, I guess.
Okay, I think a good place to start is to introduce ourselves. So why don't you go first, ladies first?
So I'm Mary Victoria Clifford, and
No, not just your name. You have to tell the people who you are.
Really?
Yeah.
My name is Mary Victoria Clifford. I'm a fashion designer. I'm now a podcaster, and I guess as we move forward, you get to know more about me. So let's save the mystery for later.
All right. So I'm Clifford Temple.
Yeah.
I'm a content creator on YouTube. I'm a commercial filmmaker, and I'm also a law student. It's interesting how I said that. In the order I said that, I said it in the order of importance. You understand? So the studentship has become the side hustle.
Now, I don't know what to say to that. But, you know, school in Nigeria is weird, so...
As well. Anyway, so this is our podcast. Our podcast is titled Cliffhanger. So in case you've been wondering what it is, I know I've been doing a kind of teaser on my social media pages. A lot of people have asked me what Cliffhanger is. I've never outrightly said it. So here it is. Here it is.
The cat is finally out of the bag.
All right, here it is. Cliffhanger.
Has the cat ever really been in the bag?
Yeah, he was in the bag. Yeah. I've made some posts about Cliffhanger, but I haven't addressed it. I haven't answered the question.
Okay.
So here's me answering it. Cliffhanger is a podcast.
It's a podcast.
Co-hosted by myself and my sister. Yeah, we are siblings. I don't know. Do we look alike?
I think we do.
You think we do?
It's not obvious, but sometimes I actually see the resemblance. Sometimes.
I don't. For me, I don't think we look alike. So I've had people ask me if you're my girlfriend. Which is fucking weird. I swear to God.
It is weird, actually.
It's weird.
It's so weird.
People have asked me that. So
I feel like telling them, don't you have eyes? Can't you see we're siblings? Isn't it obvious? And then I now think, okay, it's not very obvious. There isn't a striking resemblance, truly. So
yeah. All right. So the podcast is hosted by I and my sister. This is something we've always wanted to do for a long time. So I have a question to ask you. Are you nervous?
I am actually.
For our first episode.
Yeah, surprisingly, I am.
I swear I'm nervous.
Because originally, I thought I wasn't going to be nervous, you know, because I'm always saying, yeah, I'm prepared for this thing, you know. But right now, I'm a little bit nervous. You know, I feel like I'm out on a first date. You know how you feel when you're out on a first date with someone that you've really been talking to, maybe on phone. I think first dates are more awkward. When you guys have been talking on phone, chatting, and then you're meeting this person that you're attracted to for the first time. That's how I feel. So it's not the really bad kind of nervousness, but yeah, I do feel nervous. I feel nervous.
It's crazy. I don't know why I feel nervous, because for the longest time I've seen it as just we talk all the time. We have
all
conversations
the time.
all the time. It's mad.
I'm sure at this point the Nne is tired of us.
Of course,
she's sick of us.
She says it now all the time. So I'm very used to. I'm no stranger to having conversations. I'm no stranger to talking. It's something that I do like mad. But surprisingly, I feel kind of nervous right now on our first episode. I don't know. Maybe it's because it's our first episode. That's why I feel.
It makes perfect sense that you would feel nervous, though.
Anyway.
And then I thought it wouldn't be so awkward because, you know, we talk all the time. I'm used to you. We're used to each other and all that. But it still feels...
I feel like it's
the nerves are there.
I feel like it's because we are recording it. By the way, this is a video podcast, right? This is not just an audio podcast. In case you're listening, this is also a video podcast. So if you'd like to watch us, if you're watching us, well, thank you. If you would like to watch us, it's available. The video format is available on YouTube, while the audio format is available on every single audio podcast platform. So think we've introduced ourselves properly.
Yes.
So why don't we tell them? I think a good place to start is to tell them the meaning of cliffhanger. You named the podcast.
I did.
You named the podcast. You even came up with our tagline, a sibling duo with their never-ending conversations.
Yeah.
So I feel like let's start. A good place to start is to break down the meaning of cliffhanger, where the name came from, and why we chose that name, what it means, and let's just talk about this first episode. Basically, what I planned for it is for us to talk about the podcast. Let's talk. The topic for this episode is the podcast.
Okay.
Primarily. So,
okay.
Shoot.
So, I came up with the name of the podcast, and funny enough, I wish I had one very wonderful story, but it just popped into my head because what I had in mind was I wanted a name that we can actually share, something that feels like mine and also feels like yours. And so I wanted it to come out of our surname, Clifford. We already shared that.
You wanted, the pun was intended.
Yes. So I wanted it to come out of our surname. And I was thinking, okay, Cliff, what can I do with that? It was like a light bulb moment for me, Cliffhanger. You know.
Do you know the name I came up with?
Tell us, please.
I came up with I've told you before. I came up with a very stupid name.
Say it for the people listening. Cliffpod. Oh, Cliffpod.
It sounds
Cliffpod.
stupid.
No. It doesn't.
Cliffpod.
And we wanted something that actually rolls off the tongue easily.
Yeah. I think so Cliffhanger is perfect.
Because you guys are hanging with the Cliffords.
Yeah, you guys are hanging with
You're
the
hanging
Cliffords.
with us.
Yeah, so
we're hanging with you. We're hanging with each other.
Hanging with the Cliffords. Cliffhanger. And also there's also something important to note, which is the meaning of the word cliffhanger. So what does cliffhanger mean? Can you give us a dictionary definition? Can you read the meaning of cliffhanger for us?
Okay, quickly. Let me open a dictionary because I don't want to freestyle this shit.
No, we have to be precise. The meaning of that word is also very important to why we named the podcast Cliffhanger.
Okay, so cliffhanger.
Yeah.
An ending or stopping point calculated to leave a story unresolved in order to create suspense.
Exactly.
And I think it's just perfect.
I feel like that meaning best defines or like the tagline implies.
Yeah.
A sibling duo with
never-ending conversations.
It doesn't
We're
end.
always talking.
It does not end.
Cliffhanger is literally where the conversations never end.
Exactly.
But after each episode, it leaves you wanting more.
Exactly.
That's just
that is the literal meaning, and I feel like the literal meaning of the word just best describes this show. So, man, kudos for thinking up that name.
I'm taking my credits. I'm taking it.
I swear, I tried, man. I could never have come up with something that good. So
that's why you have me. That's why we're doing this together.
So, thank you for that.
That's why we're doing this together. And you know, funny thing,
shake hand.
Yeah. Come on. Whoa. Yeah, funny thing is, I've always known, have you always known you would want to do something like this?
I've always known that I have an affinity for public speaking. Since I was a child. Since I knew how to talk. I've always known that. But I didn't see it in the form of what we are doing right now.
Okay.
You understand? I just know that every single opportunity that involved speaking and more especially speaking in front of the public, I've taken it.
Okay.
So that's about it for me. How about you?
For me, it's been a lifelong dream.
To host a podcast?
No, not a podcast.
Okay.
But I've always thought, initially I thought I would have my television show.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to have my own
television
television
it's true.
show.
I remember.
From the first time I watched Moments with Mo.
Yeah, shout out to Mo.
Yeah. I want to do this. And then later on I thought, I would want to have my own radio show.
Yeah.
So it's like television, radio, and this moment right now, it feels like a full circle.
A dream come true.
No, a full circle moment for me.
Okay.
Because it showed me that life has a way of coming full circle. I remember in my first year in the university.
Yeah.
So I used to go to the radio station there, Unio FM.
Yeah.
I used to go there. I joined the team actually. I came there. I was like, oh wow, we have a radio station here. I would like to be part of this. So I went there. They told me I should get ready for an audition. I was like, oh wow, audition really? Cool, no problem. I showed up, killed it, became part of the team. But then there was this man in charge then. I think he said something along the lines of, oh, this radio station is for mass communication students. That's what he said. I was like, oh, wow, I'm not a mass communication student. And I was like, okay, the rest of you guys should go back and come up with your own original idea.
Yeah.
Your own show.
Yeah.
And then you pitch it to him and he'll decide whether you're going to be a part of the whole thing or not.
Yeah.
And I went back and I thought about it and I couldn't come up with anything that interested me.
Yeah.
And I can't remember how that whole thing went, but somehow I just stopped going.
Yeah.
I stopped going. I was like, fine, if I can't come up with my own show, with my own thing, then no problem, I'll leave it.
Yeah.
And I left that. And that was it. I went through university. I never went back again. And then now, by the time I was done with university, that interest came back again.
Mm-hmm.
And I still didn't think of podcasting. Even then, I was thinking of, okay, do I need to take a job at a radio station and all that? But then I don't have the experience. And I think that's something that had always been in my way. I don't have the experience to do this. Oh, maybe if I had been going to the radio station in school then, I would have gotten all the experience that I needed for this moment. And I didn't do that. So in a way, it felt like a missed opportunity for me. And so that's why when somehow within our conversations and all that, and we said, okay, we're going to start a podcast.
You now figured out that we have the vibe.
Yeah. I mean, this is what we do. All of us, like between us, even with our sisters, like the other Cliffords, we're always talking, we're always having conversations, we're always doing this. And then when that day when it hit us, okay, let's have a podcast, we can do a podcast together. I was like, whoa, finally, this thing I've always wanted to do. So I've always had the feeling that I would do something like this sooner or later. I didn't know it would happen this soon. I was thinking maybe by the time I'm like in my 40s, that's when I would do something like this. And then when the opportunity presented itself again, I was like, you can't miss it this time. Can't miss it this time. It just has to happen.
Yeah.
And we're here. And I'm happy. I'm actually happy that I'm not doing this alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess maybe the reason why everything delayed this much was we're probably meant to do this thing together. I feel that way.
Aww. So, why are we starting this? Why are we starting this podcast?
I think the reasons are plenty. More reasons choke.
Off the top of your head, why do you think we're starting this podcast?
Okay, we're starting this podcast to basically bring the conversations that we have in private public.
Okay.
To share it, to involve other people in our conversations.
Yeah.
Because everything all this talk we're talking in here, we just want to invite other people to bring them into this conversation, to learn from each other, and to grow with each other and with our community, and all that. So that's like the primary reason. Yeah.
Well, one thing I figured out in my association with people, in life generally, in my little experience living, is that conversations are hard.
Yeah.
Talking is easy. Anybody can talk. Yes. Anybody with a decent grasp on any language can talk.
Yeah, sure.
Can speak.
Sure.
But conversation, having a conversation, conversing is very difficult. It's not easy at all.
No, it's not.
It's a very difficult thing to do. Knowing how to converse, knowing how to interact with people and have productive conversations is something that is very, very difficult to have, and is something that is difficult to know how to do in a productive way. It's kind of hard. And I feel like most of the world's problem, I don't know about you, I don't know if you share this belief, but I feel like most of the world's problems can be fixed if people conversed more.
Yeah, sure.
I feel like if people conversed more, if people spoke to each other more, with understanding, seeking to hear the other part, especially people with opposing viewpoints, I feel like a very large percentage of the world's problem can be solved. And so having that ability to converse, to speak clearly, precisely, compendiously, and just communicating the idea in your head lucidly in a way that the other person can understand you, whilst learning how to listen You understand? Listening to the person and arriving at a conclusion that leaves both parties better off than when they entered the conversation. I feel like it's a skill.
Okay. Yeah, it is
And
a skill.
and it's something that I intend to hone by being a participant of this project.
Yeah, same here.
I feel like it's something I want to hone personally. It's something I think everybody should. It's a skill that everybody should have.
Needs that in their lives.
If you're going to conduct interactions with people as a social being, it's something that you need to be able to do, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like that's my primary goal for the podcast. And secondly, this is a more personal point.
Okay.
You and I are not the best communicators to each other.
Whoa.
I feel like growing up, and let me tell you something. I'm kind of shocked. Will I say shocked? I'm not shocked, but I did not expect that you and I would host this podcast.
Same here.
Because we don't really share the same viewpoints. We disagree a lot.
We disagree a lot.
We disagree a lot on a lot of things. So I feel like it is a bit weird that it panned out this way.
Yes.
We've not had the smoothest conversations in our lifetimes.
I think it's pretty smooth, funny enough.
Smooth.
Yeah.
No, I think it's interesting.
Interesting, definitely.
But I don't think...
Contentious too.
Yes. I don't think it has been smooth. Smooth is not the word I used to define most of our... Not all. Most of our conversations.
No, I would... For me, like, do you know how I see it?
Okay.
I think our conversations start out really well.
Yeah. They start out well.
Very interesting. And then we get to this point where we disagree. And then both of us, we have coconut head. We know they agree.
Like mad.
So it's like, at that point, I'm like, okay, this thing is about to devolve into something else. And then it gets really chaotic and contentious.
Yeah.
But then initially we were having a really beautiful conversation. And then now we're arguing and we're both trying to get our points across. I'm trying to tell you, yes, I'm right. This is it. It has to be this one. I'm insisting on my own point.
Something I like to call shout, make a shout.
Exactly. I'm insisting on my point. You're insisting on your point, and it's almost like there's this friction that we can't find a way past it. It's like a roadblock, and honestly, that's what I thought would be a major problem. With both of us starting this podcast together. And then when I think about it, I realize that maybe that's the reason why we're doing this. Actually, it's actually the reason why I think it's perfect for us to do this together. First of all, we're sure that we're not coming to agree with each other on every single thing. It's okay for us to disagree. I mean, we have
respectful disagreement.
We have contentious conversations all the time. But I think our relationship, in a general sense, is pretty good.
No, it's pretty good.
For siblings, we have a really good relationship.
It's a very good relationship.
We disagree.
Yeah.
We agree.
Yeah.
We resolve our differences.
Yeah.
We apologize.
Yeah.
Funny thing, and okay, I'll tell you something I realized with the back and forths that we usually have.
Yeah.
It surprised me, honestly. Do you know you actually, it's easier for you to apologize than me?
Really?
Yeah. I didn't know. Yeah. It's like, honestly, I was like, okay, wow. Nothing prepared me for that, because I feel like we're both stubborn, but you're the more stubborn person than I am, and you're way more disagreeable than I am. But you apologize easier than I do. And like, if you think about it, you realize.
I know I normally don't have an issue apologizing, especially to my sibling. I don't think it's that way with outsiders. As long as it's my siblings, I know that my sibling is my sibling, and more especially my elder sibling. But I don't even think it's about being elder.
Not elder.
It's more of, like, my sibling is my sibling. I know that at the end of the day, we have to share the same space.
Yes.
And if we're going to share the same space, then we need to resolve whatever issues that we have quickly. I talk a lot. I like to talk. I'm not a kind of person that can even if I decide to keep malice, I will forget.
I don't know how to keep malice.
I'll forget that I'm keeping malice and come and talk to you. That's just how I am, right? So
yeah.
I feel like in that way, it's kind of easy for me to just apologize. It's just let's just let everything be normal. I feel like it's kind of easy for me to apologize. It's not really an issue for me.
Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting. I didn't even know you admit to that. So.
No, sure.
Nice,
talk true
nice
now.
One,
Come on.
No, this is the first time I'm hearing it.
Yeah, no, I haven't told you that before. And
you haven't.
And I realized it recently. Yeah, I realized it recently. And I think that's the reason why what we're doing is really important, because outside the personal growth and all of that, I feel this podcast will give us an opportunity to have smoother conversations, to learn. Because I think one of the major issues we have in conversations is the fact that it's difficult for us to listen to each other. And prior to this moment,
you've pointed that floor.
And prior to this moment, I used to think, I'm a good listener. I can listen to I didn't listen well. That was how I saw myself. I'm a good listener. I know how to have good conversations. But in trying to organize this podcast, to put the whole thing together, I realized that, oh wow, you're not that's great a listener as you think you are. There's so much progress that you need to make. Like, are you really listening to, like, what does it mean to really listen? I started asking myself that question. When you say I'm listening to you, I'm a good listener, what does it mean? And I realized that, oh wow, I have a shit ton of work to do there. And so I think this podcast would help me in that regard to be able to calm down, really listen to someone. I don't have to agree with you. I don't have to get my point across immediately. I really want to, and these are as personal values that I want to have. I want to be the kind of person that listens, kind of person that knows how to have productive conversations with someone. I can disagree with you, and things don't have to get too contentious.
This stuff you're talking about is not just something that we are dealing with. I feel like with how polarizing the world is becoming, you understand?
It's
we
bad.
have people on this side and people on this side, you understand? It's a global issue.
It's almost like you have to be at peak and extreme.
It's a global issue.
And stay there.
People don't know how to sit. Socrates says something. It is the mark, not Socrates, Aristotle. Aristotle said, it is the mark of an educated mind to entertain an idea without accepting it.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you have to change your mind.
No.
Although, if an argument appeals to your reason, it's advisable that you change your mind. Of course. If you want to
anything
improve.
else would just be you massaging your own ego.
Bam, correct. So it doesn't mean that you need to change your mind necessarily. But I feel like a lot of problems in the world, back to what I said before, will be solved if you can just listen. If you really listen to someone and try to understand their perspective.
Okay.
Try to understand the reason why they believe what they believe. The reasons why they are saying what they are saying. Why they are acting how they are acting. I feel like it would go a long way in resolving a lot of needless conflicts in humanity in general. Now, when you downscale it to a personal relationship, you and I, to be precise, I feel like it's just is an attribute that if we tackle appropriately, it's going to improve our relationship.
Sure, definitely.
It's going to improve our relationship, and I feel like we can achieve a lot. We can achieve a lot, both individually, in our dealings with others, and in our dealings with ourselves. So
yes, sure.
That's a very solid reason why we are doing that. So what do you think?
Sure. Yeah, because at the end of the day, I want to watch this first episode that we're doing today, and by the time I don't want to be too ambitious. I don't want to be too ambitious, but I'll say it anyway. By the time we're doing our 10th episode, it's a bit too soon. I know. It's a bit too soon, but I believe that's also how quickly progress happens.
Wow.
Even if it's like one drop of progress, but I know that by the time we're recording our 10th episode, we wouldn't there would be an obvious improvement in the way we communicate, in the way we express ourselves, in the way we're able to express our thoughts and ideas, and not just and it's not just about expressing your ideas. What is even more important than expressing ideas, you need to learn how to share ideas. Because I think a lot of times it's so easy to focus on expressing my idea. I want to express myself. I want to express my thoughts. I want to tell you what I think. No, the goal is, and I think that's what we've been doing a lot of, and that's where the conflict comes from, because we're both trying to express ourselves. And now we don't just want to express ourselves, we want to share our ideas.
Exactly.
To share our thoughts. I want to let you know what I think. But at the same time, I also want to hear what you have to say. And I also want to hear what people out there have to say.
Sharing our perspective of the world. Sharing our perspective. I feel like it's very important in your life to interface with as many different perspectives as you can. And following this aphorism that says it's important to what does it say? Always believe that the other person has something to teach you. I don't know if I'm misquoting it. I think you've heard it before.
Yes, I've heard it before.
Always act like the other person has something to teach you. Yeah, I feel
know something you don't.
Know something you don't. Because the more perspectives you put yourself in front of, you will actually find out that, wow, I swear, it just betters you as an individual. It improves you all around as an individual. So this is our first step to exposing ourselves to our perspectives. You understand? In a very civil manner. It doesn't get more civil than this.
It doesn't.
In a very civil manner. And also watch our progress, like you said.
Sure.
By the time we're in our 10th episode, they say the shelf life of almost all podcasts is 7 episodes.
7. Okay, so I was actually right by 10.
Yeah, they say most podcasts don't make it past their 7th episodes.
Okay.
But if they make it past their 7th episodes, it's a good indicator that they'll continue.
Okay.
Yeah. So
we're counting down to 7.
7. By 7, we must have gotten better at this.
Do you know something actually occurred to me?
Speak.
Okay, it didn't just occur to me anyway, but do you know this is the first time since childhood that for the past, I think, 1 year plus, this is the first time we've really spent a lot of time with each other as adults. And I think that's possibly why we realize that hiccup in the way we have our conversations. They are good, they're interesting, but it easily gets chaotic. And I think, because I feel like over the past 1 year, I've been getting to know who you are for real as a person, not just as my brother, but not just as this little boy that I grew up with, but as an adult, as an individual, with the things you've learned and unlearned and the person you've become. Getting to know that person all over again has been like a new experience for me. And I think it's the same way with you too, because for the most part, I think for like the most part, once everyone started growing up, left the house, or schooling in Uyo, you've been, bonding with your own friends out there. And then now we are the only siblings left at home. And so we really have to talk to each other. And not just as, my sister, as people. And that's literally where this whole podcast came out from. Because we realized, okay, first of all, I do like talking to you. I enjoy talking to you, as chaotic as our conversations can be sometimes.
Same here.
As contentious as our conversations can be, I do enjoy talking to you. And a lot of times, I'm like, oh, wow. Now we get to do this thing professionally. Can I say professionally?
Professionally, of course.
Okay, professionally. I feel like I couldn't say that. But
professionally.
We get to do this professionally. We get to share these conversations with the world. And I can't wait to see where we get to. I can't wait to see how far we go with this. I really can't wait to see. So I guess as nervous as I feel right now, that thought is still what excites me at the end of the day.
I feel like another aspect of this podcast that I'm looking forward to, although it might not be as pleasant, is the ability to have honest conversations. I feel like honesty is a very important component in conversations that most people seldom want to incorporate. I see a lot of people who want to talk. I don't see a lot of people who want to talk honestly. Because there's a lot that speaking honestly entails. You have to tell the truth. Telling the truth is a very difficult thing.
Do you think we have honest conversations outside the podcast?
not as much as we could. Not as much as we could.
Do you think it's possible to have to unintentionally have these honest conversations?
Yes, completely. Completely. I feel is very easy actually to have these honest conversations, because first of all, having an honest conversation entails that you tell the truth.
Yes.
Telling the truth is a very brutal thing to do. It's a very difficult thing.
Yes.
Right? That's number one, because telling the truth entails that you come face to face with your flaws as an individual. You have to come face to face with your flaws as an individual and say what you truly think. You have to risk being wrong.
Yeah.
You have to risk being judged. You have to, there's a lot is involved with telling the truth. You have to risk looking stupid.
Yeah.
You understand? So that's the reason why most people would rather just not be honest. That's one. I feel like two is that it's even very difficult to know what the truth is.
Yes.
Genuinely.
I think that's almost the root of the problem. Because sometimes you could be saying things that are untrue and you don't know. You're not aware. Because I know I've been in that situation before.
Yeah.
But recently I became very aware of it.
Partly because you've been so used to lying. You've been so used to saying things that are not true. I feel like that's one. You've just said a lot of things that are not true. And now your perspective or your sense of discernment between what is true and what isn't is warped. It's a bit warped.
Yeah, that could be the case.
I don't know if you've experienced that before.
Not really.
But like you kind of know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I understand. Because normally I try to be very honest when I'm having conversations with people, regardless of the outcome.
Yeah.
I try to be like, I think I'm a straight talker reasonably. So it's a personal value of mine to try as much as I can to be honest in my speech.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just don't know as much as you think you do about a subject matter. And so you're having, and instead of listening to what the other person has to say, or making the effort to find out more, to know more, you're just saying things that you've not interrogated properly. And that was why I asked you a question about if you thought it was possible for someone to say things that are dishonest unintentionally. And then I was also wondering, if it's unintentional, then are you being dishonest or are you being ignorant? What's the difference? Where does one draw the line?
Okay, I feel like that's a solid argument. I feel like intent differentiates whether it's dishonest or not.
Okay.
I feel like intent makes that difference. That's what I think. Okay.
So it's a real problem when you're saying something that you know to be a lie.
Exactly.
You know. I'm not being honest right now. This is not what I think. But for whatever reason, you say it anyway.
Yeah, for a couple of reasons. Maybe you just want to signal virtue. You want to look like a good person.
Smart.
You want to seem smart. You want to seem like a smart ass,
agree
intelligent.
with the majority, what everybody thinks.
Exactly. You want to agree with
the majority. Or
you're
scared of people disagreeing with you.
Yeah. Okay. So that's why I feel like a very a reasonable model to follow when it comes to navigating this kind of issues about having honest conversations is basically to try not to lie.
Yes.
You understand? It can be, telling the truth can be difficult because God even knows what the truth is.
I mean, sometimes like you don't know what the truth is.
Yeah.
So right now you're saying the best thing. This is what you know. And you're not even aware that you believe something that is not true. But I feel like that's a whole different conversation. That's a whole different conversation altogether. Believing something that really isn't true. And you're not even aware that this thing that you believe is not true.
You can even believe something that is true. And tomorrow it's false.
Okay. Yeah, it's possible. That's a whole conversation of its own.
Yeah. And tomorrow, like, it just changes, right? So, for me, I feel like it's hard to know what the truth is.
Yes.
It's hard to know what the truth is. It's very hard to arrive at the truth. But it's very easy to know what a lie is.
Sure,
you know when you're lying.
Certainly.
Yeah,
certainly.
So that's why if it's hard to tell the truth, at least don't lie.
So I really hope that Cliffhanger is a place where we can strive to the best of our ability to have honest conversations.
Exactly.
Honest conversations, to say the things that we truly believe to be true.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I hope we'll be able to achieve here. And even when we bring people on the podcast, between ourselves, even outside the podcast in our daily lives, I really hope that that's something that we're able to achieve with this.
So what does it feel like finally being able to start this project that we've always wanted to start?
Good. It feels good. It feels good, man.
Yeah.
It feels good. It feels like I'm getting a second chance in life. That's how it feels like to me.
You sound,
I know.
You sound
I sound ancient.
old and full of regret.
No. I'm not full of regret. Honestly, I'm full of gratitude.
Yeah.
Because it's not every time in life that you get second chances this early in life. You get. It's one thing when you get people think like when people think of second chances, these are things that you imagine would happen much later in life.
Yeah.
So I feel a lot of gratitude, honestly, because I'm getting a second chance this early.
Yeah.
So I don't get to have the regrets.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't get to have the regrets,
that's true.
because it's something I've always wanted to do this. And for me, and the reason why I don't have the regrets is because I didn't think it's something I would be able to do. I told you I never thought of podcasting.
Yeah.
I thought of television. I didn't think of podcasting. So it's something I've always wanted to do. It's something that's been like a dream for me. But a dream that was a little bit out of reach.
Out of reach, yeah.
Out of reach. But then life had presented me with some opportunities where I could have unconsciously been getting ready for the role that I actually want to play in life. Like the time I spent at the radio station.
Yeah.
In hindsight, if I had known that I would still have this interest, that the interest will not go anywhere, I would have fought for it.
Yeah.
When the man said, "Oh, you guys cannot come because you're not a mass communication student," I would have insisted and kept on going there. At the end of the day, I had nothing to lose. But now I get the opportunity again. And I feel like generally I'm better prepared to handle it though.
Yeah.
Mentally, spiritually, and otherwise. So yeah, second chances. So I'm grateful for second chances. And I'm super excited about that.
You see, I wanted to talk about that idea of your dreams being far from your reach. Because it's a very critical issue.
Yeah.
Personally, it's something that I go through. And you know me, I'm a very big thinker.
I've been through it, man. Been through it.
I'm a very big thinker.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that. Like, I think I have this huge, I always have huge ideas that are like so far.
You're very visionary.
I'm very visionary. A lot of people even tell me, "Oh, more, you're thinking too much. Is it this small
Big
thing?
picture.
It's too much. Like, it's too." I always want to push things to the limits. My limits. You understand? And I normally run into, personally, I don't think I've spoken about it. I don't think I've spoken about this feeling anywhere. Okay, I think I've talked about it with you to an extent, but I haven't been public about it. This feeling of you're reaching for something that's out of your ability to have. This thing is out of your reach. This thing is just too far.
I know that feeling.
Be a little bit realistic.
Yes.
Be a little bit in touch with what you can possess. You're reaching too far. It's something that I struggle with personally.
I do too.
You do too.
Certainly. I'm well acquainted with that feeling.
Yeah.
I know it perfectly. Because sometimes it's like, why don't you just stay within the realm of reality or what you believe to be possible?
Yeah.
I remember initially when I thought, okay, I would want to be a television presenter and all that. there was still a part of my mind that was like, calm down. Calm down. You too dey overdo.
Yeah.
Calm down. Free am. Take your time. Maybe when you're like, I told you, I was like, okay, maybe I'll do it in my
Your
40s.
40s.
Do you know how many years I have till my 40s?
Or more.
Who even told me I'm going to live to my 40s? I'll live in Jesus' name, amen. But
yeah.
but come on.
I get your point.
Nobody promised you all that time in life.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think the opportunity would present itself this early, though. I didn't think so, honestly. There's some things that I've had dreams that I've given up on just because I don't think it's possible.
It's possible.
And that's also part of why this podcast is it means that much to me, because I would say for the first time, sitting down here, recording this podcast is, for me, the significance of it is that I know for certain that, see, dreams are valid. This is a full circle moment for me. Life does come full circle. So whenever you're presented with an opportunity, take it. If you're interested in it, take it, because you don't know those things that you want to do in future. Life will still present you with a chance to do the things you want to do. You can be everything you want to be, but not at the same time. So you don't want to play with any opportunity that you get in life. You want to grab as many as you can. If I knew I would be sitting down here recording a podcast, I would have been going to that studio back to back. Okay, if you chase me, I would change it for you. I have podcasts I'm going to do in 5-6 years. So, like, if I had known, and that is, nobody knows the future. If I knew, okay, by the time you're done with school and everything, you be sitting down here starting a podcast with your brother, I would have been going to the radio station. By now, experience don't choke.
Like mad.
You understand?
Yeah.
And so it showed me, see, you don't know where God is taking you. I'm getting spiritual, but you don't know where God is taking you.
Yeah.
All you know are your dreams. Some of your dreams seem valid. Oh, I can do that. Surely I'll do that.
Yeah.
And there are some that you can't even begin to perceive the extent of that level of achievement. So just leave it. Take every single opportunity as it comes, so that when you get to that point, you'll be ready. Now, right now, doing this is like, your dreams are valid. All the things that you think that you want to do, that you're interested in doing, don't worry. Step by step, you get there. Shebi, you're starting this podcast now, and you're doing it on your terms. That's something else I've always worried about. I've always wanted to do certain things, but I wanted to be in control of what I did.
Yeah.
I didn't want anyone pulling my strings or calling my shots or telling me what I can say and what I cannot say. How long I get to say it, no?
Boom.
And that's what I wanted, to be in control. I want to be able to have to expand the full range of conversations that I want to have, to exhaust it. And nobody will tell me, oh, no, you can't say that. Oh, no, you go.
That's not allowed.
It's not allowed. Or it's like a job. Oh, you're fired.
That's the worst.
Leave and we'll replace you with somebody else. No. So I wanted that control. I wanted to do and to get to say the things that I do want to say. Nobody is putting words in my mouth. So now this is an opportunity. And I know that we'll see where God is going to take us. We'll see.
Number one podcast in Africa. Speak it into existence. Like it's going to happen. Definitely. I swear.
I'm saying it here. This is our first episode because it will happen. Number one podcast in Africa. Cliffhanger.
That's
Write it down.
That's a
we'll
fact.
Be back. Don't worry. We're
statistically
coming. No, we're not coming. We're here.
We're here.
We're here.
What the fuck, man?
Understand? We're here. Don't worry.
Number one podcast in Africa. I feel like for me, I just like the fact that we get to build this stuff from the ground up.
From the ground up.
We get to build this stuff from zero. And we get to see. I'm taking this, I don't know about you, but I'm taking this curious approach towards the management of this podcast.
Yes.
I want to see how far we can push it.
Same here.
I want to see
how
how high the boat can sail. I want to unlock new frontiers as far as this space is concerned. You understand?
Yeah.
Building this thing from the ground or building it from nothing, essentially.
From nothing.
And seeing it become something.
It all started as one little idea. An intangible idea.
Yeah.
Now here we are.
seeing it
Here we are.
crystallize, seeing it form, I feel like that alone is satisfactory.
It is satisfactory.
It's fulfilling. It's like having a child and watching your child grow
Yeah.
into an adult. Watching your baby just metamorphose and keep growing, keep improving, and become an actual person that can move through life on their own.
Yeah.
I imagine that must be a very satisfactory feeling
Certainly.
to experience.
We'll get to experience that. I know we will.
That's
Definitely.
like an idea of mine that I'm coming into this space with. Is something that
Everything is new.
Mhm.
Everything is unpredictable.
Yeah.
We're plunging ourselves in full of our hopes
Yeah.
and dreams and aspirations and faith, a whole lot of faith,
Yeah.
believing that this thing is going to work out.
Exactly.
It will work. And we're going to give it, like you said, it's our baby. So
It has been like how many months in the making?
oh my god, it's been many months actually.
Yeah.
It's been many months. But we're finally here. From one little idea, we're here. So we can only go up. I mean,
congratulations.
Congrats.
I feel like I have to congratulate you.
again. Woo! Come on.
I feel like I have to congratulate you.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Congratulate myself too. So this is
Well done.
it's a new beginning.
It is a new beginning.
And we ask that you will stick around. The visual part of the podcast is on YouTube. The video is on YouTube. It's like I said earlier, it has a very strong video component. So the video is on YouTube, while the audio is on any podcast platform that dispenses audio. You can catch us there.
Yeah.
Cliffhanger
We're everywhere.
podcast.
Cliffhanger is going to be everywhere. We're
Cliffhanger.
everywhere. In your ears, in your bedroom, your house. We're there. We're inside there. Your toilet self. Don't worry. Plug your earpiece.
When you're doing your chores.
Yes. While you're doing your chores, we're there.
While you're
working,
anything,
we're
man.
there. You're driving to work. We're right there in your ears. Don't
Like
worry.
mad.
Don't worry. Don't
Back
worry.
to back.
Don't worry. Get ready.
Yeah.
If you can get ready.
Yeah.
Get ready. But I'll tell you right now, you're not ready. You're not ready. You understand? You're not ready. Don't worry. But as we move, we'll see how this whole thing unfolds. But it's going to be super exciting.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
This is Cliffhanger, where the conversations are ever sweet and never ending.
For us and the
Never
audience.
ending. Yes.
Yeah.
I actually hope to have fun with this. I always have fun when I have conversations.
Of course. That's the
And
end goal.
I know that this is definitely going to be part of that. I intend to have fun. I intend to have a great time. And I intend to just chill, just hang, just sit down here and hang out. Just want to hang out, man.
Yeah.
I'm hanging out with my brother.
Yeah.
And you guys are beautiful viewers.
Yeah.
It feels
And
good.
listeners.
Yeah. Viewers and listeners.
Viewers and listeners.
Yeah. So it's a family thing already. So we are hoping that together we're going to be one big happy family. And let's just keep moving forward with faith.
Yeah. So thank you for hanging with us.
Thank you for hanging with us.
Thank you for watching, listening. Please subscribe to the channel. Like, follow, share, all that good stuff.
Tell your friends, tell all your loved ones, tell your enemies, tell everybody.
Tell everybody, man. Tell everybody.
This is the podcast you want to listen to. Don't worry about it.
Exactly. So thank you very much and peace. See you in the next episode.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Mwah.